Okay, hello. Welcome to the Katie Black Show. Today I have with me.
Abe Al-Baba, applied neuroscientist, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. I mean, I kind of obviously had some idea of what you did, but when I really kind of dug in, I was like, whoa, how can I ask all these questions?
Nah, you're good. We'll simplify it.
But before we get into that, I always ask guests, where were you born slash where did you grow up?
Well, you already know, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Woot woot.
We're in fifth grade together, I remember, or all through elementary, really.
Dude, you know what I was thinking of when I was like getting on here? Because I have like, flashbacks. I'm like, do you remember our teacher like used to throw chairs?
Oh my God, Mr. McGee?
Yes.
How do I remember that? Oh my God, yes.
Like when he'd get pissed. When he'd get pissed.
Cheers! Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, good child abuse. Built us
Yeah.
strong.
Right? Millennials, right?
That's great.
Just pretend I don't know. What was like that in a nutshell? Like what was Charlotte like back then?
Charlotte, I live in San Diego now and have traveled I've been to like 35 countries, so I've seen a lot, done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, overall, like Charlotte was a good place to grow up, you know. It was very like family oriented. You get all your seasons, which is cool if you grew up here in San Diego. But I'm cool with like spring slash summer year round. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't miss the rain and stuff. But no, it's overall a good place to grow up. I honestly wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, same.
Other than like we were in the South, and I was about seventh grade when 9/11 happened,
Mm-hmm.
and Middle Eastern. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
the most fun, experiencing racism and stuff, but that goes with it. Other than that, though, Southern hospitality is real. They are genuine, and they'll ask stuff. Some people like a little ignorantly, but it comes from a good place. Like I remember growing up, people, you know what? What's that dang a mama wear on her head? Like something like that. Like, it's just coming from a good place, and you
Like,
just make it
right.
fun, and it's good.
That is such a funny way to look at it. By the way, how's your mom doing? I mean, obviously I haven't seen her since
Yeah.
DC fifth grade, but
Right. Yeah. No, she's great, thriving. About to retire coming up soon. So
very
she's
cool.
healthy, fit. She comes
Awesome.
to my gym, works out.
Yeah,
Good time.
absolutely. Okay, so kind of fast forwarding into your career. Well, real quick, just curious, how did you get out to San Diego?
So my oldest brother moved here when I was in the eighth grade, and I always visited. And
Mm-hmm.
then my older brother, I'm the youngest of three, and my older brother followed when he went to college here. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was done with college. I went to UNC Charlotte, and I was, doing training, and I was actually running a nightclub then
Oh,
downtown.
really?
Yeah, Mez and Casbah in the epicenter. It was good times, but I feel like I reached like my kind of like pinnacle, and it was like about a year out of college, and I took a ex-girlfriend out to California for her first time, and she was like, "Why do we live in Charlotte? What do we like?
Mm-hmm.
What you've known about this?" And my apartment was coming up for renewal on lease, and it was going to be they were going up like $300. I was like, well, you know what? I'm not going to renew. And my brother hit me up. Hey, my one of my best friends has a room open, and I just packed up my bags. That was 2012.
And that was it, huh?
That was it. Yeah. And being in health and wellness, like love Charlotte, but that's not like I could
The
go to
core.
the
Yeah.
San Diego, LA.
Right. So I'm trying to even, how do I like break open this topic? You're a CEO. You've had over, I saw 5,000 clients.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like tallying it up because like other people and they market themselves. Like I've worked with so many people, and I'm like
Right.
thinking. I started doing the math. I'm like, man, I'm probably well over 5,000, but you could say that at the minimum level. I've been doing this since what 2000, like 10, 2009. So
And so, like I said, I have so many questions, but obviously it sounds like you had your license, primary sports nutrition, and I guess just from me catching up, did it all kind of sprout from being an athlete?
Yeah, so basically, like in college, right? I was undeclared, had no idea. I was just taking whatever I was interested in. And then this girl I ended up dating, she was on the track team, and her major was exercise science. And back then, this is 2006, it wasn't really a thing or known. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, what? There's a major on exercising and sports performance? Like, heck yeah, sign me up. In hindsight, like my weakest subject all my life was science. And but when you're interested in something and go for it, like it really shows if you put your mind to it and you're actually interested, you can actually accomplish it. I just have to work way harder and to grasp like basic concepts, but got it done. So yeah, I think like in high school I did football, wrestling, lacrosse, and then in college I did lacrosse, and then after college I did boxing, kickboxing. So I just love sports.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what boosted the thought of, all right, I like helping people. I remember in high school when I was in like weightlifting class, like all the girls, I'd actually like help them with form and workouts. I think then it like was already instilled in me to like train and help people.
Yeah, just again, from me, obviously kind of stalking you these last couple of weeks, it seems like you have like this gift because, well, I guess, like I said, I'm having word vomit. Like, if I didn't know you in a nutshell, what would you tell people that you do for work?
Yeah, basically, I help improve people's brains in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, the brain literally controls everything. Everything we've ever experienced in life is brain derived. So for me, that can translate to weight loss. That can improve. I've had NFL athletes come to see me, and I improve their 40-yard dash like literally first session, or their vertical jump. And it's
Mm-hmm.
because I look at underlying factors with their brains. So I look at their health history, if they've had concussions, car accidents, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And your personality, I used to think like your personality is just like, oh, that's just who we are. I always bump into things. Oh, well, actually, when you dig deeper and do some detective work, that's your cerebellum that's not firing accurately. And that all happened after that one concussion or car accident.
Mm.
Oh, that's not part of your personality. That's just an underactive cerebellum or deficient one. So give them funky drills, maybe something like this to stimulate it, maybe some weird hand movements, tongue movement, fill in the blank. And I call it like better input for better output. So if I'm lacking input from certain parts of the brain,
Mm-hmm.
boom, let's see what happens when I give them that input, give them that stimulus, and see what happens to their aches, their pains, their performance, everything in between.
That's like I said. I mean, no pun, but my brain's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Because
it's been a fun journey. I'll share like two crazy
yeah,
cases.
please.
One kid was in so working in this. At first I'm just a trainer, like training athletes and weight loss, right? But
Mm-hmm.
this has opened up a whole nother umbrella, helping people get out of pain very fast and people with neurological issues. This one lady, she went blind after. Uh, how some people are getting blood clots from the vaccine.
Kind of.
Uh,
I mean, I did read about
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, it was crazy can of worms there. But let's just say hers went to her left eye, and she saw like 3 or 4 different doctors. They all said she'll be blind in the left eye. Like, sorry, that's not that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Comes and sees me. I have her seeing our first session. Fast forward 3 weeks, we have like literally a before and after X-ray of her eyesight coming back online. So, and that was a lot through breath work, a lot of breathing drills and stuff. Another guy, he had a neurological disorder called brain AVM, and basically he took a very high risk surgery that put him in a wheelchair for 2.5 years. And very simple stuff like breathing, some vision drills like this, mobilizing his spine, and the guy didn't need his wheelchair after our 5th session. Like he was walking, like all good.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, you have a gift.
Yeah,
Do you
look.
look
I'm
at it
just a
that
hard
way?
worker. I'm just a hard worker, and maybe talking about my mom. That she's always helping people, and maybe that's just been instilled with
Mm-hmm.
me. being the youngest too, like you're used to getting beat up, and like you have like a lot of humility through that. I think I just enjoy helping people and seeing the results. And I'm a hard worker. I think that was really instilled in me with wrestling. The sports I've ever played, like that has translated to life, like mental toughness, like being put through literally starving yourself, dehydrating yourself, trying to make weight, and then on top of all that, going through like the most physical activity you could think of in a 110-degree room will make you persevere through anything after that. So I think that's a lot where my work ethic comes from.
No, I can definitely see that. So, and again, so many questions I want to ask, but what do you think is like one theme over like all these clients that you've seen throughout the years? Is there like one kind of commonality?
It depends on their goals and stuff, but I always say, like, looking back, this thing is so much more mental than physical. Like, especially like weight loss. A lot of people, I just gotta work out more. It's like, man, when you dig deeper, it's like
It's something
these
else.
people, yeah, and it's like maybe they're eating, overeating constantly out of habit, right? When I grew up, I did a bunch of activities. I played a bunch of sports, and then I got this sit at home, remote job where I'm not moving as much, but out of habit, I still stayed eating that intake, and it was just from the lack of awareness, right? Out of habit, or it's people like that we all deal with our stress differently, and a lot of people don't have the proper coping mechanisms to handle and manage our stress. For me, it's working out. You take away working out, I'm dead. It's funny that one of the most remarkable research that we came across the last 5 years was, and don't quote me on this, but
That's right.
I'm pretty sure that they found out that consistent muscle contractions. So what that could mean is when you're in the gym lifting, that could mean running, whatever it is, fill in the blank, releases a molecule that they've nicknamed now the hope molecule, and it has all the properties of an antidepressant. So pretty wild. So when we feel good from working out, yes, it's the release of dopamine, but it's probably the release of that hope molecule. So we all have to have these mechanisms of handling our stress and figuring out the root cause. Is like, okay, why am I overeating? I have this, I wrote a book on nutrition and lifestyle, Fuel Your Performance. There's like a mindfulness fuel scan it's like a little infographic, and in one of those, are you eating on emotion just because you're sad, lonely, or bored? So it's unpacking that and getting to the root cause of why people are the way we are. And at the end of the day, man, our brains are wired. Its number one job is to survive. That's all it cares about. It's like, oh, you want to grab that drink? Okay, let me quickly calculate. Am I going to die? Am I going to fall over? So it just wants to be safe. And what's safe is staying the same exact routine, right? Because anything outside of that is threatening. So, I just look at everybody and look at them through this, what we call this neural lens. And whatever result they're looking for, I look at like what are their habits, what is their
How are they living?
What's the lowest hanging fruit that'll make the most maximum, impact for whatever result that they want.
So I'm trying to figure out, well, I guess, so I saw one of the interviews you're talking about how trauma is held in the body and like can deeply affect multitude of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a huge topic, but
yeah, well, so trauma in general, what is it? It could have been literally arguably our first concussion in life is coming out of the womb. So, and your brain doesn't forget. There's two wonderful books called The Body Keeps the Score.
I just read that.
Oh, nice. Even better, in my opinion, is Feelings Buried Alive Never Die.
Okay.
And it could be this trauma. It actually, even the feelings, I don't want to let's just say I know someone that has a lot of anger and resentment for no reason. And then when I asked his mom, because I was just curious, I was like, "Hey, what was going on with your birth, or even like your pregnancy?" And she's like, "Well, when I was talking to him, or when I was pregnant, his father was like cheating on me and maybe thinking about leaving me." So if you think about all those feelings that the mother had while carrying, was a lot of anger, resentment, it gets passed on. That's literally gets made in our DNA code. So it could be a trauma from like a car accident. I'll share a story. So I had shoulder pain for like 10 plus years. I subluxated it, and let's say 10 years later, I got it like 85-90%, but it was still there, it was still annoying. When I was in 10th grade, I don't know if you can see the scar on my forehead.
Yeah, I mean, kind
but
of.
I was playing ultimate frisbee. It was like the one time I skipped lacrosse practice, and I'm running full speed, and I catch this frisbee, and I freaking run straight into this metal pole. You know, a 4-man sled in football, like tackling dummies that they hit.
Oh my God, that's what you ran into?
Yeah, without the pads, just metal. So I had like 15 stitches here. So anyway, long story short, I'm in these neuro courses where we're doing this drill called the infinity drill, where you're looking back like this. And man, when I'm telling you, I could not move. I was like, guys, I don't know what's happening here. I can't move. Like, I pretty much had a panic attack because the last time I was in that exact position, I like almost ran and died, essentially. So anyway, I like breathed through it. I did the drill, and then I went back to the shoulder, and it was 100%. Like no issues, no nothing. So we hold on to trauma. Your brain remembers, and a lot of times it gets stored in our gut, in our liver, our gallbladder, our small intestine, large intestine, stomach. That's why like all these cancers, they're not just coming out of nowhere. There's lots of reasons why. Maybe it's exposure to certain toxins, mold, certain things, but a lot of it's emotional. I had my gym owner, rest his soul, one of my greatest mentors. He was at a point in his life where he was the least stressed ever. I know he had like some crazy childhood trauma, and out of nowhere, he just had like a stomach ache, and then went in, and it was like stage 4 stomach cancer. And this was like the most zen, relaxed. Like he did lots of coaching he was coaching me on like, my business and how to, handle things more easily. And I was like, what? This guy, Gary, how did that happen? And, it's like he got through the day, and he did like breath work, yoga, all these things to be zen. But I think he didn't truly,
like
dig and figure out like, all right, revisit that past trauma. And I think his body like revealed, it's like, okay, now we're finally done with the everyday bullshit. Now let me reveal what's really been going on. So
whoa.
yeah.
So
but we all handle it differently, right?
Well, I mean, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, I always like to say, like, okay, here's all of our stress. You're gonna put it all in this water bottle. Right? And when I say stress, a lot of people think, okay, emotional, right? So like any of those traumas I mentioned, fight with your significant other, family, whatever. So now we filled that up, to here by now. But on top of that, if I have these 3 main systems your brain communicates with, stuff in your insides, your interoception, so your gut, things that keep you alive, these organs, your vision, your external environment, how to touch things, your senses, all these different things. If those are not operating optimally, that's going to significantly add to the stress. So it's going to, and then when this thing's filling up and spewing out, that's when you see like cancers, pain, decreased performance, stuff like that. So it's all about decreasing the stress in your water bottle. Whether that's improving sleep, better food, better movement, seeing a therapist.
Yeah, right. So what do you say, obviously, and I guess that goes into the meaning behind your name, 3-in-1 Elite. I guess like meaning it's not
Yeah,
like someone's like, hey, I just need to stop, I don't know, eating
yeah.
crap or
Right. I always say there's three, so 3-in-1 elite. So there's three systems, one athlete, one
oh,
elite
okay.
athlete. And that elite athlete is you, even though you're not, Olympian,
Right.
as I know.
No way.
But
Yeah.
you wanna come to this podcast like totally ready, like energized, like you want your brain, functioning properly, all the things. So these three systems make up how well you operate on that end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a stay-at-home mom, whether it's the weekend warrior, or an Olympic athlete,
Right.
doesn't matter to me because your brain is still communicating with these three systems. All right, that's your exteroception, that's monitoring everything in your external environment. Your
Mm-hmm.
interoception, everything monitored in your internal environment, and then your proprioception, monitoring where you are in space. So I always say, like, sense well, feel well, and move well. And that encompasses how well you're going to perform.
I mean, obviously, so, I kind of reached out being like, oh, it's the beginning of the new year. Like, what's your
Yeah.
vibes or what's your perspective of like if someone wants a reset? And obviously now knowing that like it's way deeper than that, but do you still have like a couple go-tos that you tell people that like, how do I reset? How do I start over?
Yeah, no, 100%. So when we talking like New Year's resolutions, a lot of people think what we call macro goals and micro goals. So it's when I sit down with a client, I really dig deep. It's like, I want to lose weight. Okay, why do you want to lose weight? I want to look good, and then after I ask why 5 more times and get through the societal bullshit reasoning, then we find out my dad died from a heart attack at 60. I don't want to be like him. That's your reason. So number one, you have to find your motivation, your what we call salience, the importance and the meaning of why you're doing what you're doing. Because when things get tough for your motivation to change, things get harder, you want that to fuel the fire, right? You want to be constantly driven. So you have to find the salience, the meaning. Then after that, you break down that goal to macro and micro goals. All right, I want to lose 30 pounds. Well, you're not going to lose, 30 pounds in, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's going to be gradual over time. So you break that down into, all right, 1 week goal, right? I want to lose 30 pounds in 6 months. And then we break that down. All right, that's pound a week or whatever it works out to be. And you break down those little micro goals. And
Mm-hmm.
that keeps you the mindset of being positive and like constantly moving forward. And because when it's like, you got this big daunting task of 30 pounds, right? And it seems like it's so far away. So you need these little achievements. We have this saying that I learned in this neuro course: win the day, right? It's like, man, you haven't worked out in like 6 months, and then you just did literally 5 push-ups. And you're like, damn, man, I only did 5 push-ups. And then you're hard on yourself. I should have did a longer workout. You did 5 push-ups. That's
Right.
5 more than you did in fucking 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
So it's constantly staying, positive and little tiny habits. I'd say number one, if we're on the topic of weight loss and honestly performance too, water, right? It's like such a simple thing that a lot of people don't do. And just more water consumption. I think it was like just 1% increase. It was a pretty big study. I think like a couple thousand people, and they found that for every 1% increase of water intake, there was 9 less calories consumed. And when you think about that, I mean, that adds up, and that could be like 100 calories, 200 calories. So a lot of people don't, and water does so many things. Like literally, we're about 55 to 65% water. Okay, but every 99 point something percent of all of our processes in the body utilize water.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. So that's like number one. I have like an app that has nutrition coaching and workouts, a whole program, all the things, and I include infographics from my book that like build on themselves. So I try to like versus like, all right, you got to have this meal plan and do this and do that. It's just like, all right, man, are you drinking enough water?
Yeah, just like a
You know,
basic.
are you eating fast? I literally just had a buddy. He was trying to lose weight and get more fit, and because he's my buddy, I know his habits. I was like, bro, you eat way fast. He's like, yeah, I know, and like, so we got to like the reason why you might eat fast. Like he's Mediterranean, like me. Mom, when they cook dinner, it's like 5 different things on the table, and you just like want to
Go
try
for
everything.
it. Yeah.
Your eating speed is higher. All right. Now with that awareness, what happens when we eat fast? Your first 20% of absorption of your food happens on your tongue, right here. So when you skip that part or just take 2 chews and just swallow, you're losing out on the absorption of about 20 to 30% of your food from your tongue. So you want to take your time, you want to chew, and then what that also does is when you take your time, your brain and gut need about 20-25 minutes to talk and communicate that you're full. So when you eat fast, you kind of skip out on that, so it leads to overeating. Mm-hmm. So anyway, gave him this little tip, and he would like, one of the tips, like put your fork down in between bites, aim for like 10-15 chews before you swallow, like wait for it to liquefy a bit. And he would normally do 2 plates, and after that he just did 1 plate, and I was like, man, I was full, I didn't need another. So
fascinating.
It's little things.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, because I still want to ask you about pop culture, but since before we get there though, my last kind of this tree situation, what is your thoughts with all the knowledge that you know of like the GLP-1 and everyone doing like the weight loss needle? Like, what's your 2 cents on that?
Yeah, good old peptides. I think it's great for certain individuals. But I always say, like, start with the absolute basics first. Give that a genuine try. Because here's my whole thing with supplements in general. Mm-hmm. We are given everything we need. Food, the different chemical breakdowns that we get from our food, it's all designed beautifully for our human bodies. When you get things made in the lab, I'm not discounting anything, but it's just different than what we get. So as natural as we come, do that well. And if that's not working, then we resort to more extreme stuff. But you can't, there's this beautiful analogy of a guy running on a treadmill at 11 miles per hour, okay, which is fast, for 3 minutes straight, which is pretty long time. And as he's running, another guy next to him just eats a pizza and drinks like a soda. So within 3 minutes, they calculated how much calories the guy consumed and how much the guy burned. The guy sprinting 11 miles per hour for 3 minutes, what do you think he burned?
Honey, I don't know.
He burned 42 calories.
That's it?
While the other guy consumed nearly 1,000.
Oh my God, okay.
Right? So you could take the peptides, you could do the freaking Ozempic, but at the end of the day, you need to change your habit and lifestyle. So if you don't change that, I mean, my uncle, he got a gastric bypass. He lost a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. But let's say he lost, I want to say like 100 pounds. But he never fixed his cause because he's a fast eater, actually talking about fast eating. And, he lost 100 but gained 50. So he's better. But, like, you want to I'm such a root cause person. So just get to that root cause, try the simple stuff. I always compare it to like sports, right? So what did you play? Did you play anything?
I was actually a swimmer during the summer. I was on swim.
Oh, swimmer. Okay, cool. So but what event?
All of them. I don't know. I was good at back.
Oh, all of them. Okay. So I don't know, before like you learn like I'm not a swim expert, but let's say like, the turns and how to kick off the wall and like the mechanics and all this finite details. It's like, dude, do you know how to like float? you know,
Like
fundamental thing. Do you know how to breathe? Right. So food and this whole lifestyle change, it's the same way. Start with the basics, get the fundamentals down, and that's gonna be 80% of what's gonna deliver your results. So I'm gonna say it like this, how I address it in my book. There's a time and place for those things. Try the natural best way first. But I mean, peptides, yeah, I mean, they're great. You're seeing lots of promising results from them. But there's so many other steps before we get there.
It should be a last resort, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah, should be a last resort.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna go to It Cuts Off. Growing up, I always ask people, what was your like favorite band, artist? Like, who'd you love?
Oh man, I'm a hip hop guy, 100%. Tupac, Biggie. I remember, remember Tim Burns. We had that in fifth grade. We had that Outkast album.
Oh my God! Hey, hey, what's that fuss?
Yeah. Oh my God. We would play that so loud. Bone Thugs, those different artists, and I think for me, I look back too at like why that resonated with me, and even I'll even take it back to like X-Men. I was big X-Men growing up, and I thought about like we were talking about me being Middle Eastern, growing up in the South. I didn't know this, but later found out as I got older, X-Men was written during the 60s during the Civil Rights Movement. So it's actually an analogy for Black people and what they went through, because the X-Men, they're like mutants, right? And then they're treated, differently. And then there's this, they compare humans and mutants, and they're split. And they have like a couple sayings throughout the cartoon, like people will always fear what they don't understand. I was like, dang, man, as a little kid, maybe that resonated with me, because I'm always like the one brown guy in the classroom, being like the outcast. And then same thing with like, maybe that's why I resonated more with rap and the lyrics. It like helped me get through things, and I could like relate on different levels.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I like all genres. Dude, 90s, we were spoiled. Music, okay, guilty. NSYNC.
Yep.
Yeah, I was an NSYNC, not a Backstreet Boy.
That's right. That is so funny.
Yeah.
Dude, when you said so by the way, it was like, what is this going to be like? And I'm like, I tell people it's going to be like you're on the phone with me from like the 90s. And he's like, what if my mom picks up? And I just...
Yeah, when my mom picks up. I need the phone,
Get off. Oh my
God. We had Rage Against the Machine, Limp Bizkit, like
Eminem. Yeah, it was like all
Eminem. We were... So... No, I even liked some like techno stuff,
or even too like even
Slim.
Oh my God, that was a great album. Yeah, it was just, I don't know. I just feel like it was. I mean, obviously shit was still going on, but it seemed like a much more chill era.
I follow like Only 90s Kids Know on Instagram. Oh, so
Me
good.
too. I follow anything like nostalgic, and I too, real quick. I mean, not that we can really answer it, but I'm like, I feel like our generation, so millennials, which are like babies born between 1981 and 1996, I feel like
Wow, 80, 96. That's a bigger gap than I thought.
Than you thought. I just feel like we're so like such a like overwhelming nostalgia, and sometimes I try to analyze like what's that about,
Yeah.
But maybe we're not supposed to know.
Yeah, I always think like too with technology and like people freaking out with AI and stuff, and
Oh my God.
and honestly valid, but I like try to think, all right, when we grew up, man, we went from like 8 tracks to like now like everything on the phone, like that's crazy, like, and yeah, sure, we had internet come out. Remember AIM, like the dial-up?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And like the sound of the door opening when someone looked
Oh,
on.
yeah, so good. But like, I think about the gap and what we can do now. It's just for the kids growing up now. It's just because I train like youth athletes too.
Right.
Honestly, it ain't. It's not good.
Not. I
Social
mean,
media. Could you imagine if we had social media in fifth grade?
no, there would, no, there would be like, I mean, as I guess it's happening now, there would be like thousands and thousands of, would have been more issues. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
mental health and all the things, the depression, the suicides. I mean, I know guilty. I don't know if you remember this. And I think it was fifth, maybe it was sixth grade. I wrote a rap about like just like cracking on all the popular kids. You know, I was one of them. But like
You were.
I was just cracking on everybody, like an Eminem like style thing, and like I wrote this whole rap, and it was just for like me and like a friend or two, and then it got like out.
Got out.
There's a lot of people named in that.
That's so fun. Do you still have it?
All I remember is uh, Becca Sparks. You ain't nothing but a bitch that barks. Like, I don't know. Like sixth grade is pretty bad.
Right, but I guess you're saying now it's like, what if like your friend there is like filming you do it,
Right,
rapping
and then
it, and then
posting
they send
and
it.
like that was luck of the draw. Someone like found it, and then it had to be circulated. You know, we didn't have camera phones, so yeah.
I mean, I guess thank God. Like,
Yeah, thank God.
and Ring cameras.
Oh yeah, man.
I could go on and on. But real quick, like I said, I'm gonna go till it cuts off. Where can people find you? Your business?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, NeuroFit Abe. My business is 3-in-1 Elite. That's the number three, the word in, I is in indigo, and is in Nancy, the number one elite.com. And I help everyone from like pain to performance, anything in between, athletes, everyday people, neurological issues, whatever. If you want to get better and you got the motivation, I'm the guy. If you got a brain, I can work with you.
Give you a holler. And real quick, like I said, it's gonna cut off, so don't freak out. But I recently went to like a trainer nutritionist, and he's like,
Oh,
Penny, you're not eating enough protein.
yeah, that's very common.
Yeah, and I was just, do you think it's just because, again, going back to how we grew up, it was just kind of like starve yourself?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's still like the trend. But yeah, I mean, it's like think about what we were eating. We had like
Yeah.
ranch and French fries is what most of the girls would eat at lunchtime. You know,
Like at
uh,
10:30.
yeah. And I was like fortunate, you know, the way I grew up, I had full meals, and that's really what we need is just balanced meals.
Hmm.
Some people might need more protein. Some people might need more carbs. I'm Middle Eastern. I thrive better on carbs. You may not. You know,
It's all about,
my
yeah.
book is all about giving you tools to figure out what works for your own unique body.